You ever have one of those days where you realize no matter how far you move from the crowd, trouble just has a way of tracking you down? Yeah, that's how I learned. You can take the man out of the city, but you can't keep nosy people out of your life, no matter how many private signs you bolt up. Let me back up a sec. After 30 some years driving trucks and pretending I enjoyed office birthday cakes, I cashed out and bought myself a little slice of rough land at the edge of Copper Valley. I didn't move there to make friends, just wanted space to turn a wrench, fix up a few old rigs, maybe listen to the wind instead of traffic for a change. So I set up my shop, planted a line of cedars, parked my old GMC top kick at the edge with a welded sign, private means private, just to keep things clear, you know? But the minute you build something that doesn't match the beige box next door, you become the neighborhood's favorite problem. Across my fence is maple run rows of houses that look like they were poured out of a cake mold. Lawns clipped short, short enough you'd think the grass was scared to grow. I figured I'd keep to myself wave if somebody jogged by, mind my business. That's the joke, these folks can't stand the wild edge. They want every blade of grass lined up, every old truck hidden, every fence painted the same sad color. And when you don't play along well, you'd better believe they'll let you know. It started with a glossy HOA flyer in my mailbox, Visual Standards Community Expectations, like I was supposed to repaint my soul beige. I tossed it, kept on with my day. Next thing, here comes Marla Henderson, the local queen bee, strutting up my gravel with sunglasses that made her look like she was auditioning for a bug movie. Floral blouse stretched tight and lips pursed like she'd just bit into a lemon. "I'm Marla," she says from the house with the green shutters. "Maybe you've seen it." She didn't even wait for me to answer, just started in about how my truck and that sign set the wrong tone for the neighborhood, said it was unsettling for children. I asked if she had any kids herself. She snapped back that her nieces visit, her dog likes to sniff along my fence. That was enough for her to run the show. "Good, that's what the sign's for," I told her, and you should have seen the steam coming out her ears. That's when the real game began. Code enforcement vans idling slow out front. A warning sticker slapped on my trailer, a drone buzzing just overhead, and still. Marla kept up her visits, always with some new thing I was doing wrong. I wasn't breaking any rules, but folks like her, they don't quit. When you ignore them, they double down. So I started keeping records, photos, dates, lawyer on speed dial. The way I see it, if you're going to war with the HOA, best bring more than a rake. One morning, humid sky heavy. I'm under the truck, checking a jack stand. Here comes Marla in a huff, no sunglasses. Now cheeks, red hair, wild eyes locked on my sign. She stomps right up, starts climbing onto the tailgate like she's some kind of action hero, hand gripping the rail, huffing, swearing under her breath about blight and protecting the community. Didn't even hesitate. She reached for my sign, and that's when I hit the switch I'd rigged for the air suspension. Truck dropped just enough to throw off her balance. Next thing you know, she's knee-deep in mud blouse, smeared flailing and cussing. "You just going to stand there?" she shrieks. I said, "Private means private," and turn my back, calm as you please. Sometimes you get the kind of peace that comes with a splash. But she wasn't done. She just changed weapons. Next morning, I find a zip-tied letter from the county, visual buffer violations, improper storage, even some made-up drainage compliance nonsense. She'd taken her war to the paperwork trenches. I called my civil engineer buddy Hal to double-check everything, and wouldn't you know, he finds out their subdivision's drain is dumping right onto my land, no permit, no easement, nothing. So while Marla was busy playing sheriff, she was the one breaking the rules. But then things got ugly. Somebody broke into my shed, dumped my backup fuel, left nothing but a mess and a snipped lock. Cops showed up, shrugged, told me to get a dog or more cameras, so I did floodlights, thermal cams, motion sensors, the works. I kept my mouth shut, let Marla think I was just an old grump with a stubborn streak. Then twist. I didn't see coming a neighbor I barely knew. Mr. Brooks stops me one evening, leans over the fence, and says, "You're not the first, you know. Marla did this to the guy who built the greenhouse, forced him out, sold his land. He gave me this look like, 'Watch your back,' then shuffled off, leaving me with more to worry about than just muddy boots. Soon after, somebody jams foam into my truck's exhaust, slaps more fake complaints on my door. Security cam catches Marla's nephew red-handed. He gets booked for trespassing, and for once the sheriff actually cares. But the real punch comes when I get this fancy envelope from a real estate firm offering to buy me out cheap, like they could push me off my land with paperwork and a check. I framed that letter, hung it in my shop as a trophy just to remind myself what kind of folks I was dealing with. The drama ramps up mediation at the city annex. Marla, with her lawyer and a folder full of grainy photos, me with my stack of proof, and the drainage report that flips the whole room on its head. The mediator can't find a single code I've broken, tells Marla to cool off and maybe get a taller fence. Didn't stop her, just made her meaner. Next thing I got cars honking at dawn, strangers, sitting in their cars by my gate, never staying long enough to get ticketed, just making sure I know I'm being watched. That's when I brought in a PI, figured if Marla was going to play dirty, I'd play smart. Turns out she'd been making quiet donations to county staff pushing for a redevelopment plan that'd make my land disappear on paper. That's when the state showed up, a guy in plainclothes badge clipped to his pocket, saying I wasn't a suspect but a witness in a corruption probe. After that, Marla's empire started to crumble, county staffers getting suspended, development plans vanishing her porch, suddenly empty flowers drooping like they'd given up too. Weeks passed, the horns stopped, new neighbors moved in, dropped off cookies and a smile, but kept their business on their side of the fence. The street got quieter, nobody eager to cross my line or complain about my tools. I took the original private means, private sign, still dented and muddy from Marla's tumble, and set it right by my driveway. Some days I look at it and laugh, remembering how close I came to being pushed out not by bulldozers or buyouts, but by 1,000 tiny paper cuts and a whole lot of pettiness. Thing is, folks like Marla, they don't just want things tidy, they want control. And if you give them an inch, they'll take your whole soul. So now when people ask if it was worth all the hassle, I tell them, sometimes peace isn't something you inherit, it's something you fight for. You gotta stand your ground even if it means getting a little muddy. So what about you? Would you cave and play along, or would you stick it out when a neighbor tries to run your life? Ever had a Marla on your street? Let me know down in the comments. Whose side are you really on when the mud starts flying? Because out here, sometimes the only way to keep your peace is to claim it, loud, messy, and all your own.